This is the guided reading practice for Faith Daniels. She's going to be reading from chapter 2 in the book Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Myers. There are some words in here that I know will be instructional level words for her, and so we're going to allow her to begin to read.
Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Chapter 2. Long Night. I miss you already. I don't need to leave. I can stay. It was quiet for a long moment, just the thud of my heart hammering, the broken rhythm of our raged breathing, and the whisper of our lips moving in synchronization. Sometimes it was easy to forget that I was kissing a vampire. Not because he seemed ordinary or human. I could never, for 1 second, forget that I was holding someone more angel than a man in my arms. But because he had it, seems like nothing at all to have his lips against my lips, my face, my throat. He claimed he was long past the temptation my blood used to be for him, that the idea of losing me had cured him of any desire for it, but I knew the smell of my blood still caused him pain, still burned his throat like it was inhaling flames. I opened my eyes and found his open too, staring at my face. It made no sense when he looked at me that way, like I was the prize rather than the outrageously lucky winner. Our gazes locked for a moment. His golden eyes were so deep that I imagined I could see all the way into his soul. He seemed silly. Oh, it seemed silly that this fact, the extent of my soul, had ever been in question, even if he was a vampire. He had the most beautiful soul, more beautiful than the brilliant mind of his incomparable face or his glorious body. He looked back at me as if he could see my soul, too, and as if he liked what he saw. He couldn't see into my mind, though, the way he saw into everyone else's. Who knew why? Some strange glitch in my brain that made it immune to all the extraordinary and frightening things some immortals could do. Only my mind was immune, but body was still subject to a vampire with abilities that worked in ways other than Edward's.
Okay, go back and read that sentence again. There was a word that you missed, and I want to see if you think it sounds correct. Go back to only my mind.
Only my mind was immune. My body was still subject to vampires with abilities that worked in ways other than Edward.
Okay, go ahead.
But I was seriously grateful. So whatever malfunction it was that kept my thoughts a secret, it was just too embarrassing to consider the alternative. I pulled his face to mine again. Definitely saying, he murmured a moment later. No, it's your bachelor party. You have to go. I said the words, but the fingers of my right hand locked into his bronze hair, my left pressing tighter against the small of his back. His cool hand stroked my face. Bachelor parties are designed for those who are sad to see their passing of their single days. I couldn't be more eager to have mine behind me, so there's really no point. True, I breathed against the winter cold skin of his throat. This was pretty close to my happy place. Charlie slept obliviously in his room, which was almost as good as being alone. We were curled up on a small bed, intertwined as much as it was possible, considering the thick Afghan I was swathed.
Yes, swathed.
Swathed in like a cocoon. I hated the necessity of the blanket, but it sort of ruined the romance when my teeth started chattering. Charlie would notice if I turned the heat on in August. At least if I had to be bundled up. Edward's shirt was on the floor. I never got over the shock of how perfect his body was, white, cool, and polished as marble. I ran my hand down his stone chest now, tracing across the flat planes of his stomach, just marveling. A light shudder rippled through him, and his mouth found mine again. Carefully, I let the tip of my tongue press against the glass smooth lip, and he sighed. His sweet breath washed, cold and delicious, over my face. He started to pull away. That was his automatic response whenever he decided things had gone too far. His reflex reaction whenever he most wanted to keep going. Edward had spent most of his life rejecting any kind of physical gratification. I knew it was terrifying to him trying to change those habits now. "Wait," I said, gripping his shoulder and hugging myself close to him. I kicked one leg free and wrapped it around his waist. "Practice makes perfect," he chuckled. "Well, we should be fairly close to perfection by this point then, shouldn't we? Have you slept at all in the last month?" Should I keep going?
Mm-hmm.
But this is a dress rehearsal, I reminded him, and we've only practiced certain scenes. If it's no time for playing safe. I thought he would laugh, but he didn't answer, and his body was motionless with sudden stress. The gold in his eyes seemed to harden from a liquid to a solid. I thought over my words, realized that he would have heard in them. What he would have heard in them. "Bella," he whispered. "Don't start this again," I said. "A deal's a deal." I don't know. It's hard to concentrate when you're with me like this. I can't think straight. I won't be able to control myself. You'll get hurt. "I'll be fine." "Bella." "Shh." I pressed my lips to his to stop the panic attack. I heard it before. He wasn't getting out of this deal. No, not after insisting I marry him first. He kissed me back for a moment, but I could tell that he wasn't as into it as before. Worrying, always worrying. How different it would be when he didn't need to worry about me anymore. What would he do with all this free time? He'd have to get a new hobby. "How are your feet?" he asked. Knowing he didn't mean that literally, I answered. "Toasty warm." "Really? No second thoughts? It's not too late to change your mind. Are you trying to ditch me?" Should I keep going?
Yeah, just the next sentence.
He chuckled. "Just making sure. I don't want you to do anything you're not sure about."
Okay. So there were some words there that you stumbled, but I wanted you to know I was really pleased with the way you stopped. You looked at them before you tried to just gloss over them.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of them were words that you maybe were familiar with, but you've never seen them in print. Can you tell me some key points of the chapter that you just read?
It's the night before Bella's wedding, and Edward came to see her, and he's getting ready for his bachelor party. But she doesn't want him to leave. She really wants him in bed bad. But they're waiting because Edward said to wait until after they were married.
Okay. Can you give me any details?
Like as she was holding him, not wanting him to leave, caressing his back, kissing him constantly to make him stay, things like that.
Okay. Well, I think you did a very good job with this. And like I said, I wanted you to know that I'm really pleased with the way you stopped. You looked at the words before you just jumped over them, and you sounded them out. And you did go back and self-correct. When you caught yourself making a mistake, you backed up and corrected it. So I think you did a very good job. And I appreciate you letting me do this video. Thank you very much.